the international body. So I'll do an executive summary of the presentation. That first and foremost, Uganda will be hosting AFCON 2027 together with the other East African countries, and there are challenges that need short-term and long-term strategies. Dear members, on the 10th of September, out of the motion by the Minister of State for Education and Sports, Honorable Peter, while paying tribute to the outstanding performance of the team in Chan, there was a resolution of Parliament that the development...
So, Mr. Watson, can you help the President of FUFA? We wanted the document, seriously. As presenting, let's get that right up. Because the Honourable Minister doesn't have, neither do I have. We just need to work in tandem. Yes. But meanwhile, we can be continuing as...
But with due respect to the President of the FUFA and the entire family, first, as a responsible minister, that I know FUFA works through National Council of Sports. And I expected such a presentation would have gotten knowledge of National Council of Sports, even if I assume that I've been busy with you, Mr. Chairman. It's surprising that as you hear, the FUFA president, who is a colleague, is making a presentation which even I do not have a copy. And I've just asked the chair of council, which is directly mandated to supervise these federations, whether they are privy to the presentation. But because since this parliament, it will be prudent that as affairs of sports are concerned, all of us as stakeholders are brought on board. And I'm happy that the motion which I moved has been quoted in the presentation. Unfortunately, myself who moved the motion is not having anything. So, Mr. Chairman,
what we do, let's do it this way before.
I want to request that, with your permission, that we have a copy of this presentation. Secondly, with your permission, that before decisions are made, allow me to go back to the ministry, harmonize and discuss this with the Minister of Education and Sports. Because whatever brought here has come from the consultation from the Ministry of Education and Sports and top management. So I want to kindly request that, Mr. Chairman, through you, this be considered. I thank you so much.
Yeah, I was proposing this way. You can get out for some 5 minutes. Consult as we move with other entities. I think that's very prudent. So, Honourable Minister, and actually, I watched you get our flag from Morocco, and we are 2 of you, so please go on. You just go and just reconcile for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I want to request that the permanent secretary, since the CEO is there, and the chairman of National Council of Sports and the general secretary are part of that consultation, because it's not about me with my brother.
Problem. I do not have any.
Can I make a small suggestion as well? Your proposal, that whereas it is being raised that our colleagues do not have the copy, as far as I'm concerned, there was a copy delivered to the National Council of Sports, but we can cross-check with that, because if you see the letter, it is copied. However, I also want to suggest that by the same mechanism, documents or a presentation has been made here about AFCON and football, but we have not had a consultation with the National Council of Sports. Whatever is being presented here has zero input from the Federation. We thought that if that was the case, it should have started already, so that by the time we come here, but since we had not gotten any opportunity of any input, then it becomes a challenge for us that some of the proposals, which are good, and maybe even supporting what Council is presenting, had not been included. But we take your advice, and then we'll get back to you.
Yes, please do that.
Thank you so much.
Honourable Minister, you are well represented here. We can move with other. Yes, Dr. Ogwel.
Chair, thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to confirm that we have not received any submission from FUFA. And for all the years National Council of Sports existed, the procedure of National Council of Sports and budget preparation is communicated at the appropriate time. And the CEO who is here, who is the author of this letter, knows that procedure, and he has been doing it over the years.
Okay.
We have not received the copy being referred to.
I've given you 10 minutes.
We have not received.
I've given you 10 minutes, so please. I've given you 10 minutes, but you had finished the presentation, so consult and get back. Yes, Honorable Itungo. Hello? And in-house? After? We are going to have an in-house. Not now, because these are many people. Because to me...
No. The challenge is only one. There's a procedure in the government that require, for example, federations and associations are under National Council of Sports. They are required to make submissions to National Council of Sports, which they have done over the years. And we normally do. We normally require them to undertake. You get me? Now, at that point, we are able, therefore, to integrate their need and as a gap that we pray for. Now, after this presentation of the second budget call circular, there is what we call corrigenda, where government looks for additional resource. It is at that point we write to them, because government has provided additional resource. Here we have highlighted the need, as far as we are concerned, as the authority of government for sport development. We have highlighted the need, which is totally 1 point. There you'll find about 8.5 billion is for additional resource to support federational needs. So we think for them, because we also know that we are guided by the National Framework Paper, which gives us a ceiling of budget. So you cannot impress on government to plan huge figures without guidance. The guidelines is very clear. So our justification is therefore hinged on the fact that, yes, if government needs to give us additional resource, we need to tell them which area. Now, FUFA should have written to us, but they have not done. They are claiming they have written to me a letter. That letter is addressed to the speaker. I'm copied, but I'm not received a copy. That should have come. And our procedure in the ministry, once we receive submissions, I have an obligation to submit to the Board of Council. I have an obligation to submit to the ministry top management, which is chaired by the senior minister and first lady of this country. If it is a matter of AFCON, it must also go through the AFCON Secretariat, which has a CEO, where the minister is the chair of the LOC, and FUFA is part of it. So we have all the platform which was not addressed. And that was a concern of the Honorable Minister and the ministry, that those procedures must be followed. There's no problem. We need to supplement, complement each other's effort, because this is our country. Thank you. In the 7, there is increased need, 1, for government to reinstate the money which has been removed from our budget for the next financial year, which totals to 167 from the 508 billion which we have in the current period. That will help us address so many emerging issues and other matters that require compliance in respect to the sports infrastructure development and preparation for AFCON as a country. That's number 1. Number 2, there are emerging needs to grow the subsector and also undertake our strategic development planning right in its form. The interventions we have designed for the next 5 years in line with the government development plan, which has been approved by the National Planning Authority, we are required to undertake a number of activities in order to promote and develop sports, besides the sports infrastructure. The necessary support required for federations and associations require additional funding. You note that some federations will get 10.7 billion for a whole year. You know that? About 28, 27 of them. We have major games and preparation for activities that are aligned to them, like the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics and Paralympics. We have to support national teams for the respective federations to the qualifiers that at the end will see us select those players that tomorrow will represent the country. they need to participate in the regional, continental, and world championships. And those require a huge amount of money. The other aspect is major games government fund 100%, not from the side of the federation, like the Olympics I've mentioned. This year we have Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, where averagely we require not less than 5 billion alone. But the total budget we have in the annual period is 3.5 billion. So that really affects, one, the support required to process the players, present the players, and present Team Uganda as a country. Other needs are aligned to the, now that we have finished some of the construction work, like in the Home and City Stadium. We have not undertaken activities, for example, the insurance coverage for the facility, which is a must. That facility cost the government of Uganda $130 million US. It must be insured. As a government obligation, in the case of any emergencies, we need to be protected. So we need the money. And training facilities, we are doing in Makerere, Kiambogo, Oima, Boma Grounds, Atituwinyi, Liredo. In all this, there are issues for them to be completed. We must maintain them. We must buy equipment. And these are hybrid facilities we are constructing, which is internationally accredited. So then the other aspect is additional human resource requirement. The new structure for Oima City Stadium requires us to do a restructuring to also recruit new staff. It doesn't have any staff aligned to it because it was not expected earlier. The money was not provided to do recruitment. Now a new structure following our feasibility report is out, which actually require us to hire a few staff. Those are some of the additional needs. So the others we can reschedule them, like the Logogo redevelopment after the AFCON project, yes. But there are these needs that you need, and for us to be proud organizers of such a major competition, but also prepare our athletes. We need this money. We have 1.5 trillion need as an ideal budget. We are not saying government can give us all the money, but this is the ideal budget, which government must know we need. If the money is there, they will give us.
How much is the shortfall on that?
The shortfall is huge. It is about, if you deduct now 1.5 minus 336 billion, which is what we have, because the 167 has been removed from the 508. So already we are starting on a deficit of 167 billion. So the first thing we are praying for is to have...
We have a shortfall of 1.2 trillion.
Yes, 1.2 trillion. That is a shortfall. That is a gap we need to bridge. So, and that is our appeal, that we may not need all the money, but the priorities require for us to operate normally and in an ideal situation. We're not saying this is, government must do everything. Yes, government works with the priorities. Now our priorities and mandate require us to construct, maintain, and support the usage of these facilities. Moreover, also support federations who are mandated by law to do talent identification and development, but also present national teams to various competitions, including Olympics, Paralympic Games, World competitions, World Cups, like we have come from Morocco. Those are the things we must do. You might have seen the value of every player, and you can also look at that from the value of player. We want to create such players with such value. We need to invest in them.